Hey, my name's Aubrey, and I'm going to be reading you the final installment of Borgel by Daniel Pinkwater. Chapter 23. The Blue Moon Rest was a circular building, painted blue. It looked sort of old and beaten up and friendly. There were a few assorted vehicles parked outside. We went in and sat down at a table. There wasn't a humanoid in the place. Various creatures of various shapes and sizes were munching, gnawing, sucking, gobbling, and absorbing plates of great-looking food. I realized that I hadn't been getting many balanced meals lately. "We are going to eat something, aren't we?" I asked Borgel. "Of course, Melvin," Borgel said. "After nothing but onions for the last day or so, I think we're all ready for something tasty." In addition to the tables, there was a counter. Behind the counter was an amorphoid fleshopod flipping hamburgers. He was disgusting, but he didn't approach Alfred in that respect. He didn't affect my appetite one bit. There was a sign hanging above the counter. "Our specialty. No cal, no newt. Food for all species." The waitress came over. She was a fur-bearing anthropoid from the Nofkis galaxy, Freddie told us. She looked as though she weighed about 450 pounds. Her fur was a light green color, except for which detail she looked pretty much like any ape at home. She was wearing a button on her uniform that read, "I am the gorilla of your dreams." She smiled at us. I liked her. She seemed friendly. "Know what you want, honeys?" the ape waitress asked. "What's no cal no newt, miss?" Borgel asked. "No calories, no nutritional content," the waitress said. "We can feed beings from anywhere. All the dishes we prepare are the..." "What's no cal, no newt, miss?" Borgel asked. "No calories, no nutritional content," the waitress said. "We can feed beings from anywhere. All the dishes we prepare are 100% cellulose. Fiber. Good for man and beast, and whatever. If you decide, we can give you nutrients on the side." "So what is everything made with? Wood chips?" Borgel said. "I guess," the waitress said. "The maple pancakes are really good, and the okra is real oak." "I guess I'll have that," Borgel said. "And give me a side of B complex, some C, E, and trace minerals." "One humanoid special," the waitress said. "How about you, sweetie?" she said to me. "I'll have the same, I guess," I said. "Nothing for me," Fafner said. "I'll have some kibble in the car," he whispered to Borgel. "And a complimentary synthetic cookie bone for Rover," the waitress said. "It's on the house, Poochie. Enjoy." "Just a pine burger for me," Freddie said. "And some iron fillings on the side, and maybe some copper sulfate and a slice of lead." The waitress raised one eyebrow as she wrote down Freddie's order on her pad. "The lead is extra, okay?" she asked. "Fine," Freddie said. "Turpentine shakes all around?" "Just water," Borgel said. "I'll try the shake," Freddie said. "Sure you can digest all that?" Borgel asked Freddie. "You and I aren't so young anymore. You might have trouble sleeping." "I crave minerals," Freddie said. To the waitress, he said, "Your name wouldn't happen to be Millie, would it?" "That's me, Shorty," the waitress said. "I wanted to ask you a question," Freddie said. "The answer is no, Grandpa," Millie said. "I do not date customers. I'm a married gorilla." That wasn't it," Freddie said, blushing. "Oh, no?" Millie said. "I saw the way you were giving me the eye. There's no need to be embarrassed. I know I'm irresistibly adorable." "You certainly are," Borgel broke in. "But my companion just wanted to know if your husband, Glugo, has a boat available." "Could be," Millie said. "Why don't you ask him yourself? Here's the number. The phone's over there." She scribbled a number on a page of her order pad and handed it to Freddie. "I'll call him right now," Freddie said. "Excuse me." He went to use the telephone. When Freddie was gone, Millie said to Borgel, "It's none of my business, but how long have you known that little guy?" "Not very long," Borgel said. "Were you aware that he's a Grivnizoid?" "A Grivnizoid?" Borgel asked. "A native of the planet Grivnis," Millie said. "Now, I like to think I am not a prejudiced person, but those Grivnizoids can be very dangerous." "How so?" Borgel asked. Well, let's just say they tend to be evil, power mad, untrustworthy, and abominably clever and sneaky. Of course, I could be wrong. But you think he's one? How many little bald-headed men you know eat sides of iron fillings and lead? Not many. I'd be careful if I were you, Millie said. Thanks, Borgel said. Millie went to give our orders to the fleshopod. Do you think she's right? I asked Borgel. She may just be a talkative waitress, Borgel said, but I have had my doubts about Freddie Nifboom. We'll just keep this to ourselves, and Fafner, keep a sharp eye on him, understand? Right, boss, Fafner said. Freddie came back. Glugo is going to meet us here, he said. Chapter 24. The no-cal, no-newt food was actually not bad. It tasted like regular fast food, such as you'd get at any roadside restaurant. Watching Freddie eat the iron fillings and lead was a little strange, of course. My compliments to the chef, he called to the amorphopoid fleshopod behind the counter. Merci, monsieur, the fleshopod responded. Millie came back. Everything all right here? First rate, Freddie said. What's for dessert? The maple walnut ice cream is 100%, Millie said. Let's have it, Freddie said. 4 maple walnuts, Millie said. No, 5. Here comes my sweetie. An ape on a big motorcycle had just pulled up outside the Blue Moon Rest. Hi, honey, Millie said to the ape as he came in. He was a big upland gorilla wearing a blue feed cap with Don't Monkey With Me printed on the front. Hiya, Toots, Glugo said. Where's the bozo who wants the boat? It's the little goon with the whiskers, Millie said. She gave Glugo a hug, and I could see her whisper something in his ear. Sit down. I'll bring you all ice cream and coffee-like substance. So, Glugo said, drumming his fingers on the table, what can I do for you? We were told you could supply us with a boat, Freddie said. For what purpose? Glugo said. Well, we were told about a certain popsicle, Freddie said. I'm very interested in popsicles. Who isn't? Glugo said. But you don't need a boat to find one. You can get popsicles everywhere. This is a certain particular, rather unusual popsicle, Freddie said. Millie brought the ice cream, which had a strange woody taste. The coffee-like substance was horrible, but I don't like coffee much anyway. Glugo spooned in ice cream for a while and drank coffee-like substance with a whistling slurp. He said, I'm not sure I can help you. Who told you you'd need a boat to find this special place? We were talking to a computer built by a deceased genius named Evil Toad. Evil Toad? That's right. And the computer he built said you should find me? Yes. Mentioned me, specifically by name. It said we should ask Millie if you had a boat available. Also, that we'd need a wilderness guide. The computer said maybe you'd take us yourself, Freddie said. That's different, Glugo said. That popsicle replica knows everything Evil Toad knew and thinks everything he thought. So you know about the great popsicle replica and computer, Freddie asked. Listen, Glugo said. I helped build it. The statue part, not the computer. Evil Toad was my best friend. He saved my life once, nursed me through brain fever, sat with me day and night while I raved deliriously and plucked at the covers. It's not an easy job taking care of a gorilla with brain fever. I don't forget a thing like that. And even if Evil Toad is now just a statue of an ice pop with an electric brain, I didn't understand everything Evil Toad thought and did. But if the computer sent you to me, I'll help you. No matter if what? Borgel asked. Just no matter, Glugo said. The popsicle you're looking for lives in the big wilderness on the other side of the river. I'll take you there. Lives? Borgel asked. Yes, Glugo said. But it's shy and elusive. Not more than 3 beings alive have the skill to track it. Are you one of those 3? Freddie asked. I've seen it a few times, Glugo said. When can we go? Freddie asked. How about right now? Glugo said. We can cross the river tonight, sleep on the far shore, and then go looking for the popsicle. That all right with you geeks? Fine with me, Borgel said. By the way, what time is it anyway? Seems to me it's been night ever since we arrived. It's always night in the region of hell, Glugo said, but you'll see daylight across the river. Millie, he called to his wife, pack a bunch of lunches. I'm taking these slobs across the river tonight. You better be careful, Millie said. I know what I'm doing, Glugo said. A few minutes later, we were in the Dorbzeld following Glugo on his big motorcycle. He turned off Good Intentions Boulevard onto a widening road. We drove after him through the darkness until we came to a low building at the side of a wide, dark river. Glugo switched off his motor, and we piled out of the Dorbzeld. Boobs, this is Styx, a famous river. Maybe you've heard of it, Glugo said. Where's the boat? Freddie asked. Right over here, Glugo said. You fellows don't mind doing some rowing, do you? Glugo pulled a flashlight out of his pocket and showed us a very large boat tied up to a little dock. That's a Roman trireme, Borgel said. Sort of huge, isn't it? I asked. It's the only boat I've got, Glugo said. The three of you will have your work cut out rowing. I assume the dog can't work an oar. Sorry, Fafner said. That's a trick I never learned. The three of us have to row that big thing? I asked. What will you do? I steer, Glugo said, and crack the whip. Chapter 25. Rowing Glugo's Roman trireme across the Styx was no fun at all. Firstly, the thing was enormous and heavy. Pulling at my oar felt like the other end of the thing was stuck in a semi-solid glue. Also, with three rowers, Freddie and I on one side and Borgel on the other, the boat tended to slew to one side. It would have been a lot easier if Glugo had rowed too, but he seemed to think it was important to stand at the bow and crack the whip and holler, "Pull! Pull!" He said it was important to observe traditions. By the time we bumped into the opposite shore, I was exhausted. Apparently so were Freddie and Borgel, because we wrapped ourselves in the ratty blankets Glugo gave us and fell asleep immediately on the grassy riverbank. When we woke up, it was dawn, on our side of the river. On the other side, the hell side, was shrouded by clouds as black as night. Our side was beautiful, a soft, misty morning. There were green hills and forests, a dewy meadow, and I would have felt wonderful waking up to such a morning, except for one thing. Glugo and the boat were gone. The bag of no-cal newt lunches Millie had packed were piled on top of a flat rock. One of the bags, Glugo had written a note. Dear Goops, remembered something I had to do. Look around and have fun. Maybe you'll even find what you're looking for. I'll come back in a day or two, maybe 3, certainly no more than a week. How did he get the boat back across by himself? I wondered out loud. My guess is he used the engine, Borgel said. The thing has an engine? I asked. Well, something on board smelled of gasoline, Borgel said. Didn't you notice? I was so tired after a while, I didn't notice anything, I said. Fafner, you didn't do any rowing. You weren't exhausted. Why didn't you keep watch? Nobody told me to, Fafner said. You guys all went to sleep, so I did too. Some dog, I said. I didn't know, Fafner said. What was I supposed to do, read that gorilla's mind? Never mind, Freddie said. The main thing is we're here. I'm sure the gorilla will come back for us. What if he doesn't? I asked. Maybe we don't need him, Freddie said. Let's look for the great popsicle. I suggest we have some breakfast first, Borgel said. Let's see what Millie packed for us. Cold, no-cal, no-newt hamburgers taste a little like pencils. The added nutrients taste like the graphite part. We didn't spend a long time eating breakfast. Now, about looking for the popsicle, Borgel said. I suggest we spread out. If anyone sees anything like a popsicle, whistle. I can't whistle, Fafner said. You go with Freddie, Borgel said. See that nothing happens to him. I'll keep an eye on him, Fafner said. That's not necessary, Freddie said. Take the dog with you, Borgel said. He needs the exercise. Besides, he might be useful if you run into danger. Melvin and I will go up that hill. You two can take a look in the forest. Fine with me, Freddie said. We'll meet back here about noon to eat some lunch and see if Glugo has returned. Borgel and I started up the hill. Now that we're alone, there are a lot of questions I want to ask you, I said. Not yet, Borgel whispered. Wait until we're farther away. Grivnizoids have excellent hearing. Then he is a Grivnizoid. Shh. When Borgel thought we had gotten far enough away from Freddie and Fafner, he stopped and sat down on the grassy slope of the hill. Now I think we can speak freely, he said. You wanted to ask questions? I hardly know where to begin, I said. Who or what is Freddy? What is the popsicle thing we're looking for? Is it real? Is it here? Why does Freddy want to find it so much? Why did Glugo leave us here? And is he coming back? Good questions. I will answer them all at once in no particular order. Get comfortable. I got comfortable. First, the popsicle. It is probably a real thing, but its form is provisional. Okay? Nope, don't understand. It's complicated. Certain objects, we'll call them objects, but they're really complex phenomena involving energy, consciousness, time, matter, and other stuff we don't really understand. These certain objects appear from time to time. What do they do? I mean, what are they for? They energize. You know, the way the sun energizes our solar system. Everything depends on it. These objects, let's call them energy bundles, energize all sorts of things. Maybe a galaxy or many galaxies or the known universe. Are there a lot of them? There are 26 of them. How do you know that? I know. Anyway, I think the popsicle is one of them. But why is it a popsicle? I mean, when you think about it, that's sort of a stupid thing to be, isn't it? No more stupid than anything else, Borgel said. Why is the sun a flaming gas ball? Why not an enormous bowl of spaghetti? Why not a grizzly bear or a soft drink machine? If all your life, the source of life and energy, had been a huge blazing soft drink machine, you'd be used to it. You wouldn't give it a second thought. I think it's better for it to be a star, I said. I do too, but really, couldn't that just be because we're used to it? Anyway, I doubt the energy cluster is a popsicle all the time. It's probably one for just now, just for us. Why? Maybe Evil Toad knew the answer to that. It's funny how interconnected things are. Someone's vision of something can affect the reality for others. I'll give a concrete example. You know who was it? Napoleon? Yes, he was that French guy. Right, here's a dime. Borgel handed me a dime. Now, you may also remember that Napoleon was a little shrimp type, a shorty. You read that somewhere? Yes. Now, suppose someone was a time traveler and had the power to change Napoleon to an 8-foot giant. Is that possible? Theoretically, sure. If someone did that and Napoleon was an 8-foot giant, what do you suppose would happen? He'd have to have all his suits lengthened? Not only that, also, nature would adjust to the change by giving him giant ancestors. That's a temporal adjustment. It's the way things work. Time is elliptical, you remember. The bagel. Yes. I thought that was space. Space, time, it's all the same thing. If you change something here, it connects with things there, in time and space, in the present, in the future, in the past. So why is it a popsicle? I have no idea, but there's a reason. You can be sure of that. Just, we'll probably never know it. Next, Freddy. You wanted to know about Freddy. Yes. Is he a Grivnizoid? I think it's likely. That ape waitress sees a lot of different life forms, and she thought so. So assuming he is one, what would he want with the popsicle, you want to know? If the popsicle really is one of the 26 immensely powerful energy bundles that maintain the shape and quality of reality, he'd want to get it so he could steal its power. Why would he do that? So he could be the absolute ruler of everything. Freddy? Don't let appearances fool you. If Freddy is a Grivnizoid, he's in disguise. Grivnizoids are big, scary fellows. They're just the sort who would want power over the whole universe, and more if possible. If he got it, that would be bad, I said. Bad for some, good for Grivnizoids. Shouldn't we stop him? What if he finds it? I asked Borgel. Well, I think it may not be so easy to get. Those powerful energy bundles must be very smart. Besides, I doubt that it's here. You do? When we get to the top of this hill, I bet you my lunch we'll find we're on an island. Can't get off. And Glugo. Yes, what about Glugo? He's probably gone for help. He certainly knows that Freddy is likely to try something dangerous. Glugo seemed to be a good ape. What do you think? It was just a few yards to the top of the hill. I ran ahead, and when I got there, I could see rivers on all sides. It is an island, I said. Borgel arrived at the top of the hill. See? What did I tell you? Glugo stranded us here, and he's probably getting in touch with someone with authority to call Freddy off. Who can do that? Oh, number of people. Probably he'll get in touch with somebody like Rolls Up, the Martian High Commissioner. I've heard of him, I said. I'm not surprised. He's a very important person. So why didn't you do something to stop Freddy yourself? I asked Borgel. It's not my style, Borgel said. Remember, Freddy is just doing what's normal if you happen to be a Grivnazoid. I try not to judge people or interfere. Besides, I find that things usually work out pretty well if I leave them alone. I don't think there's any real danger. No danger? From what you've told me, not that I understand most of it, if Freddy could somehow steal the power of the Great Popsicle, he'd be the most powerful being in the universe. At least. So, why not dangerous? Well, for one thing, Freddy isn't all that bad. Oh, maybe ruthless and power mad and possibly a little cruel, but in a cute sort of way. What's more, who's to say he's going to find the popsicle? We're on this island, and the popsicle is probably all the way over on the far shore. What's that? I asked. What? Borgel asked. That thing down there, I said. You mean that thing romping in the grass? Yes. That thing that is glowing with an amazing light? Yes, that thing. Very pretty, isn't it? What is it? Looks a little like a popsicle. Are you sure? I asked Borgel. It's hard to tell at this distance, Borgel said. What we need is a pair of binoculars. But we don't have any, I said. I have a good pair. Maybe by Carl Flutz, Borgel said. Maybe I should just nip back and get them. Nip back where? Remember, the Dorbzelge is on the other side of the river. They're not in the Dorbzelge. They're in my room. I think I'll get them. Wait here and watch the thing while I'm gone. Oh, no. You've gone mushy in the head. You can't get your binoculars from your room. We're way off in time and space in the other, remember? There are plenty of tricks you don't know, Borgel said. Just watch this. Borgel put one finger up his nose, another finger in his ear, and whistled shrilly. Then he vanished, just ceased to be, was gone, turned into thin air. I felt a sinking feeling. I thought maybe he'd been billbocked again. I didn't have time to get upset because in a few seconds there was another whistle and he was back with a pair of odd old field glasses. Just where I thought they were, Borgel said. Wait a second, I shouted. Where did you get those? Where I said, Borgel said. They were in my room. You just went back to your room in our apartment and came back here in what, 10 seconds? Sure, I told you. There are tricks. Can I do that too? Why not? I was astonished. So we could have gotten anywhere without driving in the Dorbzelge. Yes, Borgel said. But what fun would that be? Here, I brought you some fig bars. He handed me a cellophane bag of fig bars. Where is that thing? Borgel asked, peering through the binoculars. I don't know. I forgot all about it, I said. Seems to have gone out of sight, Borgel said. Hand me a couple of fig bars, will you? Freddy and Fafner came puffing up the hill. We heard a whistle, Freddy said. Where did you get the fig bars? Fafner asked. Borgel found them, I said, handing him one. Well, did you see something? Freddy asked. I thought I did, Borgel said, but I don't see it now. Chapter 26. What was it like? The thing you saw? Freddy asked. Little, Borgel said. Couldn't have been the Great Popsicle, Freddy said. It has to be huge. Remember the replica? Oh, yes, Borgel said. That replica was pretty big, wasn't it? I wish you'd take this search more seriously, Freddy said. Look, we can see everything from up here. Nothing like a gigantic popsicle in sight. It must be in the forest. Say, we're on an island. I was wondering when you'd notice, Borgel said. That makes it better, Freddy said. If it's here, it can't get away from us. I'm going back to the forest. Who's coming with me? Fafner, help Freddy. I'm tired, Fafner said. Go anyway. We'll look around here some more and catch up with you. Freddy and Fafner went down the hill toward the forest. Don't whistle unless you're sure, Freddy called back. Ha! Borgel said to me. I'm not sure Freddy really knows what he's looking for. Why do you say that? I asked. Well, there's no reason the Great Popsicle has to be huge, he said. If it's an entity of enormous power, as I suspect, it could be of atomic size, or as big as a world, or anything in between. Any time it likes. Similarly, if it wanted to get off this island, or eat this island, or turn this island into a fig bar, it could do it. Wow, I said. That's what I meant when I said he might not be so easy to catch, Borgel said. I think he's heard something about it, but maybe doesn't really know what he's up against. It's a little like trying to catch an elephant with a butterfly net, which I have seen done once or twice, but it's not the best way. Would it do any of those things? I asked. What things? Turn this island into a fig bar and things like that? It could, Borgel said. But would it? Here, look through these. See whether you think it would. It's back? I asked. Right over there, Borgel pointed. Adjust the focus with the little knob in the middle. We were lying prone, just below the crest of the hill. I steadied myself on my elbows and looked through the binoculars. I had to scan around a bit, and then I saw it. There wasn't any doubt in my mind. It was something powerful as the sun, or a whole lot of suns, and it was a popsicle. It was a sort of prancing around in the grass as though it were playing. It was an orange popsicle, maybe a little larger than an ordinary one. It seemed to be alive, and this is the unbelievable part. It was beautiful. I know, that seems idiotic to say that a popsicle can be beautiful, but this one was. It was not that it was much different from thousands of popsicles I'd seen, except for the amazing light that seemed to come from it. It was beautiful in a way nothing I had ever seen or thought was beautiful. Unusual, isn't it? Borgel said. I wanted to laugh or cry. I knew I could never figure out what was causing all these strong feelings in me. I wanted to stay there, looking at the shining popsicle forever. It gave me shivers and made me feel warm, the way you feel when you're bathed with sunlight. Uncle Borgel, what? Why? It's got some power. I can feel it. It isn't bad. It's good. I don't understand what I'm feeling. It's love, sonny boy, Borgel said. You're feeling what the popsicle is putting forth. Energy and love, and a whole lot of it. That's why I never worry. It's impossible to persuade anybody of it until they see it for themselves. But most of the big things in the universe, like that beautiful little popsicle, are like that. Most things in the universe love us? That's what I've observed, Borgel said, thoughtfully nibbling a fig bar. Gee. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Now wait. Pretty soon the popsicle is going to be sure we don't have any hostile feelings. Then what? I asked. Who knows? Wait and see. We waited. Pretty soon the popsicle came closer to us. The closer it got, the more I liked it. It was wonderful watching the popsicle move around in the grass. It was like dancing. When it came closer still, it was like dancing and music, also like a light show. Also like hearing music, wonderful music. It was also like riding a ride at an amusement park. The popsicle was dancing all around us, but it felt as though we were moving and dancing with it. I also felt that all of a sudden I knew a lot of things I never knew before, strange things that were hard to put into words. I felt that I was part of something larger than I could have ever imagined a few minutes before, something that included everything and everyone that existed or had ever existed or would ever exist. I felt that the universe was wise, and as a part of the universe, I was wise too. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, I said to Borgel. You bet, sonny boy, Borgel said. What's more, once it starts happening, it never really stops. That's a little scary, I said. About all I can do is sit here with my jaw hanging open. I don't know if I could handle it going on all the time. Oh, it doesn't go on all the time like this, Borgel said. Most of the time, it's just a little vibration you're aware of, but you're always partly aware. Just being this close to something like that popsicle is a little intense. And yet, we're able to carry on this normal conversation while all that power is going on, I said. We always do everything while all that power is going on, Borgel said. Only most people don't notice it. How can they not notice it, I asked. It's like 10 orchestra concerts, 6 fireworks displays, an earthquake, and a rock concert all at once. As I said, it isn't usually this obvious, Borgel said. But it's pretty obvious. There's no limit to what most people don't notice. Look, it's moving away. The popsicle was skipping away into the distance. I really loved that popsicle. I'd have thought I'd be sorry to see it go, but I wasn't. I somehow knew that it would always be with me in some way or another. Boy, I said, that's remarkable. I'm glad you got to experience it, Borgel said. You'll be a better person now that you know a little more about how things really are. Freddy's mistaken if he thinks he can catch that thing, I said. Maybe we're mistaken about Freddy, Borgel said. Anyway, you see why I'm not worried. Chapter 27. We sat on top of the hill, nibbling the last of the fig bars. I was thinking about what I had seen and experienced. It was quiet, and the sun was shining. I was different than I had been before I saw the popsicle. I wasn't a whole lot different. I still felt like me. But something had changed. I was sure of that. I noticed that things looked different to me. Colors were different. It was as if things had not been in full color before, and now they were. And I felt something inside me that I hadn't been aware of before. It was like a place in the middle of me, quiet and active, both at once. So, Borgel said, now do you understand everything? I feel like I do, I said. Yes, but I don't. Good. Perfect. Maybe you have some questions? Yes. What? Is the popsicle God? Sure. It is? Everything is. Everything is God. I knew that, I said, but now I know better. So let me get it straight, just to be sure. Okay, Borgel said. The popsicle is a manifestation. Manifestation of some sort of great power. Yep, Borgel said, shaking the last fig bar crumbs out of the cellophane bag into his mouth. You say there are a number of these? Correct. I heard there are 26 of them, but it doesn't matter. There could only be one. There could be more. It doesn't have to be a popsicle. It could appear as anything. It's just a popsicle sort of by accident. And because a popsicle is as good a way for us to see it as anything else. And this popsicle sort of, well, watches over everything and gives everything the power to work and exist and do stuff. Yes, Borgel said. I guess that's a good enough explanation. And it loves us. Certainly seems that way. Why? Why? Why does it love us? I asked. Why not? I suppose that's just the sort of popsicle it is, Borgel said. It sure is neat, I said. I think so too, Borgel said. Fafner appeared. He seemed excited and out of breath. Fafner, where's Freddy? Borgel asked. He's in the forest, Fafner said. Something happened? Whew, boy, Fafner said. So why didn't you whistle? I told you to whistle. I told you I can't whistle, Fafner said. I'm a dog, for Pete's sake. You could have barked. Oh, barked. Fafner looked embarrassed. Well, what is it? He changed. Who changed? Freddy? Borgel asked. Freddy changed. Changed how? Changed all over, Fafner said. He changed into a monster, a big one, a scary one. No fooling, Borgel said. Did he change into something between an octopus and a gnarled old tree? Yes, with eye stalks and really bad breath, Fafner said. How did you know? That's a grivnizoid. That's how they look. They're good at disguising themselves, and you can see why they'd want to. Well, he's undisguised himself now, Fafner said. That must have surprised you, Borgel said. I wondered why he did it. There's more, Fafner said. Tell us more, Borgel said. We saw the popsicle, Fafner said. It was amazing, I tell you. It was the nicest little popsicle. I just loved it. We saw it too, I said. Cutest, sweetest little popsicle, Fafner said. Yeah, it's adorable, Borgel said. How did Freddy like it? Too much, Fafner said. I think he may have eaten it. Whoops, Borgel said. Chapter 28. Oh no, I shouted. Then Freddy, a grivnizoid, is the most powerful thing in the universe. You sure he ate it? Borgel asked. Not sure, Fafner said, I didn't want to get too close. In fact, I was busy running away, but it looked like that, and there was some very ugly noises. I'll bet there were, Borgel said. We're doomed, I said. Never say doomed, Borgel said. What should I say? I asked. Say, in terrible trouble, Borgel said, but it remains to be seen whether we are. Let's go see. I was going to suggest we try to swim to shore, Fafner said. No, I think we'd better find out what's been going on, Borgel said. We started down the hill. Near the beach, we ran into Glugo with about 15 other apes. Glugo, I shouted. Where's the little guy? Glugo asked. We think he's a Grivnizoid, Borgel said. That's what I was afraid of, Glugo said. That's why I went for help. Who are these apes? Borgel asked. These are the members of the Greater Hades Motorcycle Club, Glugo said. They're tough guys. I'll introduce you later. Now we'd better find the Grivnizoid before he figures out that the Great Popsicle is on the far side of the river. There's a problem about that, Borgel said. What? When last seen, the Popsicle was here on the island. Zeus, Glugo said, slapping his forehead with the palm of his hand. Now we're in terrible trouble. See, Borgel said to me. To Glugo, he said. Fafner was the last one to see them. We were just going to have a look. Let's go. Borgel and Glugo and the members of the Ape Motorcycle Club and I followed Fafner toward the forest. When we got there, it was deathly quiet. We followed Fafner, who was walking on tiptoe. We all walked on tiptoe too and whispered. This could be bad, Glugo whispered. Let's wait and see, Borgel whispered back. They were right about here somewhere, Fafner whispered. There was nothing in sight. Spread out, Glugo whispered to the members of the GHMC. No, stay together. Keep a sharp lookout and don't make any noise. We tiptoed through the forest, keeping a sharp lookout and not making any noise. Then we saw it. In a clearing, a little distance away, we saw what had to be Freddy, my first Grivnizoid. Keep in mind that in my travels in space and time, I had already encountered a bloboform and a morphoid fleshopod and quite a number of life forms which would appear to the average person to be scary, dangerous, and nauseating. The Grivnizoid beat them all by a light year. It was huge, it was powerful looking, it seemed alert, and it was built for combat. I have to tell you, Borgel whispered to Glugo, Fafner thinks Freddy may have eaten the popsicle. Buddha, Glugo whispered between his teeth. I shudder to think what that could mean for intelligent life forms everywhere. We were creeping closer to the monstrous thing. I didn't know why we were doing that. What we should have been doing would have been to run the other way as fast as we could. There wasn't any question that the Grivnizoid could eat all 16 gorillas, Borgel, Fafner, and me for lunch. The only question was it powerful enough to have eaten the popsicle? The only question is, Glugo said, is it powerful enough to have eaten the popsicle? Let's find out, Borgel said. He stood up straight, walked directly towards the Grivnizoid, stopped just a few yards from it, and shouted, Hey, Freddy, did you eat the popsicle? The Grivnizoid turned slowly towards Borgel. Only then did I see its face. I wish I hadn't. It moved almost like some enormous plant, or as though it were underwater. From deep within its huge body, I heard a faint voice I recognized as Freddy's. Yes, it said. That was your plan all along? Borgel asked. Yes. Why did you want to do it? Borgel asked. To get power, the Grivnizoid said haltingly. So, now how do you feel? Borgel asked. Funny, you should ask, the Grivnizoid said. Ordinarily, I can digest anything. And this time? The Grivnizoid belched. Borgel turned to the rest of us. Come closer, gentlemen and apes. I suggest we sit quietly and watch while Freddy digests his snack. Glugo whispered in Borgel's ear. It seems weak. Maybe this would be a good time to attack it. I strongly advise you do no such thing, Borgel said. Just sit down and watch for a while. The apes, Borgel, Fafner, and I sat in a semicircle on the forest floor, while Freddy the Grivnazoid appeared to be struggling with a monumental case of indigestion. We said nothing. Now and then, the Grivnazoid burped. Time passed. As we sat, watching, I had plenty of time to study Freddy in his Grivnazoid form. As I said, he was hideous, a complete departure from the form in which I'd known him up to now, which was on the cute side. The fact that, as a Grivnazoid, he was dealing with profound gastric distress didn't make his appearance any more pleasant. And yet, I found I was getting used to him. After a time, I even found that I didn't have to avert my eyes occasionally or concentrate on not being sick. In fact, a little while later, I was amazed to realize that I was beginning to actually like his looks. The apes seemed to be more comfortable too. Their expressions had softened, and they were looking at Freddy with something approaching pleasure. Fafner had gone to sleep, with a peaceful look on his face, and Borgel was quite calm, humming little tunes to himself. You know, I said to him, this is crazy, but I can't help feeling that Freddy isn't such a bad guy. No, he really isn't, Borgel said. Keep sitting a while, and you'll see something good. Freddy was feeling better, I could tell. I was glad he was finally getting over his upset stomach. This struck me as weird because, after all, I had come to love the little popsicle so much. But then, I loved Freddy, too. The last thought tripped me up. Loved Freddy? How truly bizarre. But it was so. I realized the others were feeling the same thing. Freddy was feeling fine now. He was up on his tentacles, sort of hopping around. It was grotesque, but at the same time, a pleasure to watch. He also was looking quite, well, pretty. There was a fascinating glow coming from him. I got it. Well, I'll be doggoned, I said to Borgel. Freddy has turned into what the popsicle was. Absolutely, Borgel said. What, you thought something else could happen? Freddy was up and dancing now. It was the same dance the popsicle had done. Actually, it was a little better, because Freddy, with all those tentacles, could do some moves the popsicle couldn't. The apes had all caught on, too. It was the whole performance Borgel and I had seen on the hilltop all over again. It's just as good as before, I said to Borgel. Better, Borgel said. Just think, now the wonderful energy thing is someone who was once a personal friend of ours. Hey, Freddy, I shouted. What does it feel like? But he was too involved in being a supremely powerful energy bundle to be able to answer, and soon after that he pranced away into the forest. Glugo and the members of the Ape Motorcycle Club were deliriously happy. So, Glugo said, we didn't need to protect the popsicle after all. Nah, Borgel said. It's more like the other way around. Well, come on back with us to the Blue Moon Rest, Glugo said. We'll have a party. The party was still going on when Borgel, Fafner, and I said goodbye to Millie, Glugo, and the GHMC and drove off in the Dorbzelge. In the Dorbzelge, I asked Borgel, so Freddy will just go on being a popsicle? Whatever he is? Probably for a long time, Borgel said, until he changes. Everything changes. One thing is sure, not many creatures will try to eat him. Was that what he wanted? I asked. When he wanted to get the power of the popsicle, did he know this would probably happen to him? Probably not, Borgel said. I always thought he didn't have a very clear idea of what the popsicle was, but he does now. I'm going to take a nap, I said. Good idea, Borgel said. I'll drive a while. I slept right past the gates of hell and the two-dimensional monochrome state of existence. In fact, I didn't wake up until we were in a place I recognized. Hey, I said, we're right near Hapless Toad's place. So we are, Borgel said. Let's stop in and see him. We drove up the long path through the forest until we came to the round building. Everything was the same, including Hapless Toad sleeping in his old car. 50 zlotys to go in, and the dog stays in the car, he said. Hapless Toad, don't you remember us? I asked. Sure, I remember you, Hapless Toad said. What do you think? That entitles you to a discount? Why'd you want to see him again? I asked Borgel. Well, I really wanted to see the replica, Borgel said. We paid Hapless Toad our 100 zlotys and walked up to the building which housed the replica. The sign had been changed. It now read, The Great Grivnizoid. It was a life-size replica of Freddy. How is that possible? I asked Borgel. Ask the Grivnizoid, Borgel said. How long have you been a Grivnizoid? I asked the replica. I have always been a Grivnizoid, the computer replica said. But there used to be a statue of a popsicle here, I said. Is that a question? Wasn't there? I added. Yes. So how come it's changed? A temporal adjustment, the replica said. You know that Napoleon was a little shrimpish guy, right? Well, imagine that some being went back in time and changed him to an 8-foot giant. Well, if that happened, I get it, I said to Borgel. Let's go. Outside, I said to Hapless Toad, how do you like the replica now that it's a Grivnizoid? It's always been a Grivnizoid, Hapless Toad said. We got back into the Dorbzelge. Well, where to next? Borgel asked. Home, Fafnir said. I've been missing all my favorite TV shows. Borgel turned to me. What do you say, Mr. Experienced Time Tourist? Are you ready to go home for a while? For a while, I said. And that concludes Borgel by Daniel Pinkwater. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you want to hear more books read by me, Aubrey, give this video a like and shoot me a comment or something. And of course, I just really want to say thanks for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night or day or whenever you find this video. Peace, love, and the right to vomit.